Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me at this time. My name is Shavi Zane, and I'm coming on to bring a message for the chosen. If you find that this resonates with you in any way, please be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and let us know how it resonates with your circumstance. So, chosen, first of all, I want to say thank you to every one of you who have sent great energy, uplifting energy out there for me to come out of this cold that I was dealing with. It's only been a couple of days. I'm already 85% where I need to be. So I appreciate you all. And let's just move forward. I want to talk to you all about never allowing anyone or anything to obstruct your light. Let's talk about what creates a shadow, first of all, because the chosen seed, you're not meant to be in a shadow, okay? You are the light. So you are never meant to be in the shadows. You are never meant to be hidden. What creates a shadow is when an object blocks light from a source, preventing the light from reaching a surface behind the object. Okay? So an object that blocks light from a source. So there is something dense, right? Something solid, something rigid, something opaque, right? Meaning it does not allow light to pass through. So no light is passing through this solid, dense object. That could be person, thought, belief system. But we're talking about, okay, the physical representation is a solid object. In the spiritual realm, when your light is blocked, it is blocked by an energy that is low vibrational. It's a very dense energy, okay? So that could be toxic thoughts, toxic belief systems, being very rigid in your belief systems. It could also be unhealthy thoughts, fears, things of that nature. That will block your spiritual light. But of course, in the physical, it will take a solid object that does not allow light to pass through. So it's no different in the spiritual realm. If there is a low vibrational energy that is blocking you in a spiritual realm, that is also a low vibrational energy that has zero access to the light because it does not allow light to pass through. Okay? We're going to get to the point of this. So when we're talking about a shadow becomes bigger, right? It increases in size the closer it is to the light. Okay? The closer a shadow is, the closer the object is to the light, the bigger the shadow becomes. The more obstruction it causes to the light and the bigger the shadow becomes. Now, let's just dive a little bit deeper into this because we talk about shadow work all the time in the spiritual community. This shadow work consists of you going within. Most of the time, it's like go within, do the internal work because the whole objective is to clear internal blockages, right? Because those internal blockages is rigid, it's dense energy, low vibrational energy that blocks your chakras, which is also light. And if your chakras are blocked with that low vibrational dense energy, then your light does not shine bright, not on a spiritual level, nor does it shine bright through in your physical avatar. So you can look very depleted, and it can cause a whole lot of things. So you all are aware of that particular blockage. Shadow work does not just consist of removing internal blockages, though. Shadow work also consists of removing external blockages. As within, so without. So once you get done doing all of that internal work, your light should be shining bright enough to where you start to say, okay, let me sort out where the external blockages are coming from. Because these external blockages will stand in the way of you shining. It will stand in the way of your creative ideas being brought to the world. These external blockages will stand in the way of your growth and the expansion of your light, right? These external blockages would definitely be the representation of unhealthy jobs, unhealthy career paths. External blockages can be the representation of unhealthy family dynamics, unhealthy friendships. These external blockages could be the representation of unhealthy relationships. Whatever the case may be, the shadow work extends far beyond the internal. You must also clear the external blockages in order for your light to shine. The chosen seed, you are never meant to be placed in the shadow. Never meant to be placed in the shadows. And you most certainly are never meant to be placed in someone else's shadow, because what happens is the closer that particular person is in your intimate circle, remember, it says the closer the object is to the light, the more expansive the shadow. So what happens here is that object, that person who is dense, rigid, that will not allow light to pass through. So they don't want to expand. They don't want to grow. Okay. They don't even receive your light. They're close to you as the light. You are the light chosen. But they don't even want to receive what you represent. But the closer they are to you, chosen light, the more expansive their energy becomes. So suddenly they're taking up all the space, right? They're running things. They're running your life. They're running your thoughts. They're running your beliefs. They're even taking up all the space. If you're supposed to, because the chosen, you're supposed to be front and center stage, right? You are meant to be seen by the world. You are meant to be heard by the world, because what you have to bring to the world is very, very nourishing to the soul. But then what happens is that object that's obstructing your light, which that object is that person that is in your intimate circle, the closer they are, the more expansive the shadow becomes. And so what happens? They end up taking over. They end up on platforms. They end up in the light when they don't even belong there. But what's happening is their energy is expanding because of your presence, chosen. You are well, you may not be allowing, but maybe you are, right? Because we all have free will. So it really comes down to, once you've done the internal work, have you also cleared the external blockages with your shadow work? Or are you still remaining in the shadow of other people's beliefs, other people's fears, other people's insecurities? Because a lot of times people won't allow your light to shine because they're afraid that you will shine brighter than them. A lot of times people will not allow your light to shine because they're afraid that you will reach farther distances, that your voice will reach farther, that your wisdom will reach on a deeper level than theirs. And because that object that obstructs your light is so dense that it will not allow light to pass through, they will never receive what you have to bring to them. It will always be rejected, automatically rejected. And so you remain the small, insignificant thing in their presence, right? At least that's what they hope. One thing about light, though, chosen, you are the light. One thing about light is that it sparks curiosity, right? I don't care how small the light is. This is why if a person is lost, like let's just say out in the wilderness somewhere, one of the first things they're going to try to do is to maybe light a fire, right? Light a fire, or to have some sort of spark, some sort of light to let others know that, hey, I'm here. Even though I'm lost in the shadows, even though I'm lost in the wilderness, hey, I'm over here. So it alerts people, right? I don't care how small the light the light is. It could be a flashlight in the midst of a huge wilderness that's completely dark. It could be a small candle, but you will see it. And it's not until that light makes its presence known, right? It waves, you wave that candle. Hey, I'm over here. Do you see me over here? You waving that flashlight. Hey, I'm over here, right? Seeking some form of help. What happens is now that light has exposure. Now you've sparked the curiosity of the person who is the observer, right? So somebody sees that light in this very dark space and it's like, hey, hold on, what is that over there? It's no different when you look up in the sky at night. The moment that you see that bright light, which is a star, or that bright light, which is the moon, okay, or maybe that bright light, which could be a planet, you take note of it, right? Because it stands out in the midst of darkness. And so it sparks curiosity. And one thing about curiosity, see, the Most High has taught me that everything that takes place in this existence is all for my highest good. Chosen, everything that happens in this existence is all for your highest good. It really just depends on how you interpret what's being revealed to you. A lot of times we ask for clarity, right? We ask for clarity because one thing about the shadows is that not only do you become curious about what that light is over there, but you also become curious to know, why is this energy obstructing this light, right? Why is this energy obstructing this light? So you become curious about the obstruction and you become curious about the light. And one thing that I know is that when you ask for clarity about what the blockages are, when you ask for clarity about what's obstructing your finances, what direction is this evil eye coming from? What direction is this jealousy and envy coming from? What direction? Where is it coming from? Because you know it's somewhere out there in the shadows, right? Because karmics are always in low vibrational shadow energy, practicing in low vibrational things, doing everything possible to obstruct the light. And so the Most High will reveal your enemies to you by sending in a spark that's been hidden and obstructed by an object. Just a spark. Just a little candle in the midst of a forest. Just a little flashlight that's shining up, right? Just a spark to show you where the obstruction has been coming from. And oh, does that give you an upper hand? Oh, does it give you an upper hand when it comes to vengeance? When it comes to calling judgment? And when it comes to knowing who your enemies are? But also the light that presents itself, you recognize that light, right? You recognize that light. You recognize what's causing the obstruction. And you recognize that light does not deserve to be placed in the shadows. That light needs to be seen because it's too beautiful. The spark is too beautiful. It should never be hidden, right? It possesses things that can highlight other people's shadow and assist others through their shadow work. That light should never be hidden. But it's a beautiful thing to understand the obstruction, because once you study the obstruction on a spiritual level, then you can also understand why that obstruction is there and why it is hell bent on blocking the light. I'm speaking in parables, y'all. Those who know will know. But this is the time of recognizing that the Most High, nothing can be hidden. Nothing can be hidden. There's so many imposters out here. Beings that are putting on a pretty glow. They put on an external facade. They figure if they wear a particular garment, if they speak a particular way, okay, if they hang around a particular crowd, then suddenly what's on the outside, it can fool a lot of people into thinking that they are in fact the light. But the light exudes from within, and there's never mistaking a copycat versus the real. Never mistaken. They can try, but we are in an age where nothing can be hidden. So I just want to encourage those of you who you know who you are. You ain't questioning this. You know who you are. And you know that your light needs to be seen and felt. You belong on front and center stage. Time to come out of the shadows. You've done all the work to clear the internal blockages. Now it's time to put in the additional effort to clear the external blockages, because the closer the blockage, the more expansive the shadow. And it's time that you stop allowing people to become bigger off of your light, off of your energy. Meanwhile, they're so dense, they're so rigid that they won't even receive any of your light, completely rejecting it. And all you do is stay in the corner, in the shadows. A lot of these beings will do anything by any means necessary to ensure that you stay there, because they are so afraid that if the wrong person sees you, if the wrong people hear your wisdom, if the wrong people hear your truth, no, it's really the right people. If the right people hear you and are exposed to who you are, what happens to that light the further it moves away from the shadow? The light becomes more and more expansive. It reaches farther and farther places. The further it moves away from that obstruction, the further it moves away from that blockage, the light becomes more expansive. And you know what happens to the shadow? The shadow diminishes in size. It gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's the greatest fear of the karmics that surround you to block your light. So you best believe, if you have a blockage in your intimate circle, the closer they are to your energy, the more work they're putting in to ensure that your light is never seen or felt. So you definitely want to reevaluate your intimate relationships, chosen. Thank goodness for the spark. Thank goodness for even the smallest of lights that has a strong potential to become something far greater, because it draws your attention to the obstruction. It draws your attention to the obstruction. When you learn about these obstructions out here, these people that's blocking the light, you understand that they have a motive. They have an agenda. Too many lights together in one room creates a sun. Too many lights together in one room creates a sun. Okay? that energy it's a force to be reckoned with. Okay? An obstruction, a dense energy it holds no place. It's going to be completely devoured. It's going to be completely burnt up. Anything that's dense and solid in the midst of a light that shines that bright is going to be devoured and destroyed. And that is the biggest fear of these karmics out here is the lights coming together, recognizing each other. So come on up out of them shadows, y'all. Clear those external blockages. That's my message for you all. Like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to y'all next time.